Well, so-called Operation Peace Spring is continuing again today. The Turks are keeping up their onslaught on northern Syria, and they're trying to displace the Kurdish-led administration there. And they are showing no mercy. They are taking no prisoners, and they're not letting anyone escape, whether they're a fighter or a civilian, it would seem. There's terribly gruesome videos coming out of these Free Syrian Army, so-called fighters, that are affiliated with the Turks. These are the same people, of course, who, the mainstream media in the United States told everyone that they should support, that these are the good guys in Syria. Of course, now the media's changed their tune on that, because I guess they're able to see now with their own eyes, and they really have no reason to lie anymore. But, these guys are just plain old Saudi-style jihadists. And what I mean by Saudi-style is that, they're probably, Salafists that were trained and radicalized in Saudi-funded mosques, because, all these guys, it always goes back to Saudi Arabia. They have a huge program of funding these mosques and imams that preach, that terrorism is, the way of Allah, and that you've got to, behead the infidels and rape their women. And so I was watching some videos, and thankfully I didn't see any videos of people actually getting beheaded. But there was one video that I saw of some YPG guys surrendering, and then they made them get on their knees, and they were acting very not very chivalrous. They were not acting like honorable warriors, these FSA guys. They were, parading around and making fun of them and laughing and going, ha ha ha, like, you lost, ha ha ha, we win. And then they shot them anyway. So these guys surrendered, they took them prisoner, and then they just shot them in the back. And while I don't think that war is ever civilized, soldiers that are from civilized societies don't act this way. They have some feeling of shame when it comes to killing someone who's no threat to them. I mean, I think that's why a lot of U.S. troops end up with mental problems after they come back at PTSD, is because they feel guilt about because when you're in a situation like this to where you're surrounded by civilians, even if it's by accident, you're probably going to end up killing someone who didn't deserve it at some point. And for a normal, good person, that haunts you. It's not something that you joke about, and it's not something that, the whole group would engage in. It would be something to like where if one guy snapped and killed, a prisoner, the rest of the group would castigate him and say, like, hey, you shouldn't do that. But these guys are savages. They don't see their enemies as human beings. They don't see them as their equals by any stretch. They see them as infidels. Now, it wasn't just, YPG soldiers, and I'd imagine soldiers from the other militias, such as the Seljuk brigades, which are actually Turks, ironically enough. Of course, these Arab jihadis, wouldn't have any loyalty to Syrian Turks. But anyway, they're also killing just, plain old civilians. There was one guy who was shown, because again, these guys love to make videos and post them on Facebook of them, murdering people. There was one guy that they showed, that they had on his knees. He wasn't wearing a uniform or anything. He was wearing a T-shirt and a pair of pants. Didn't have any weapons. It didn't seem around him. He wasn't wearing body armor. And they had him on his knees and, shot him and killed him. And he was confirmed to be an employee of the health department in one of these towns. I can't remember which one. It's like Razal, whatever. I can't say the name of it. But he was from one of these border towns, and he's just, a random civilian. And they, went and executed him. Now, they're also targeting more powerful people, such as government officials. There was a civilian politician. In fact, I believe she was the leader of one of the I think they called it the Syria's Future Party or something. I can't remember. There's all these political parties and splinter groups and things. I don't try and keep track of them. But anyway, it was a woman who was, somewhat apparently important in the government, important enough that the Kurds put out a press release, after she was killed. And what ended up happening was, she was driving down the highway trying to escape because it had been reported that that highway was safe. Turns out it wasn't safe, so all the people who drove down that highway trying to escape ran right into the arms of of the Free Syrian Army jihadists, and were all slaughtered. And she had the unique distinction of not being shot like a lot of the other people, but she was actually beheaded. I'd imagine that these jihadists were not fond of seeing a woman, one, who was had any sort of political power, and two, was not dressed like a proper lady in her, wearing her headscarf. Now, it shouldn't be any surprise to you then that in some of these pictures I saw guys with ISIS flag patches, because, of course, why not, right? I mean, these guys are as bad as ISIS. They have the same ideology. They might not be a part of the same group, but they have the same ideology. All of these Salafis are all, pumped full of this Saudi garbage in their head, and they're turned into absolute maniac killers. And it's disappointing to see the Turks embrace these kinds of guys, because it used to be that the Turks didn't try to embrace the Salafi jihadists, the savages that are produced by Saudi Arabia. Their strategy was different. They wanted to, try and help out the Muslim Brotherhood, and impose a bunch of pseudo Erdogan type, Muslim guys that wear a normal black suit and shave their beard type thing, but are somewhat conservative religiously. That used to be their MO, like Mohammed Morsi in Egypt. I believe he was a good friend of Erdogan. And I guess they just decided that having those more moderate guys is not really an option, so they might as well embrace the jihadists. Now, enough about the proxy fighters that are, sort of fighting on the front lines for Turkey. The Turkish military itself is still there. They are involved. They're the ones bringing in a lot, the heavy artillery and the close air support for all these, savages on the ground. And apparently, the Turks are not giving the Americans an easy way out, despite the fact that, the Americans were saying, hey, we'll get out of your way, you come in and do whatever you want. Well, I shouldn't say that, because publicly the U.S. was saying that they did not give Turkey a green light to go ahead and do all this, but it was implied in that, hey, we're going to pull out our human shields, because that's what the American soldiers there were really doing. There's not a big enough force to defend the territory. They're just there as human shields. And by pulling them out, you're removing that shield, and then that allows the Turks to come in and invade. But the Turks aren't even letting the Americans escape. They were shelling their position earlier, and the Americans were getting close to the point to where they felt like they had to start firing back to defend themselves. And in that particular case, they didn't end up having to, and they were able to escape eventually. But now there's another group of Americans in northern Syria that are apparently becoming surrounded and are going to be cut off pretty soon, and may very well end up having to engage the Turks and fight with them. And if we start having Americans being killed by the Turkish military, then there are going to be more calls for war. Because remember, that was Trump's line that he drew with Iran was, Iran, if you kill an American soldier, it's all hell will break loose and we're gonna take you out. Well, what is he gonna do if Erdogan kills Americans in a battle because they're so outnumbered? And again, this may not happen. As the time of recording this, people were saying, the reports were coming out that these guys are getting encircled. And so we'll see if any battle does end up happening, but it'll be very interesting if it does. So if you gained anything of value out of this video, I'd appreciate you clicking that like button and sharing this video. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe, because I do upload every day, and I'd hate to have you miss one. So I'll see you folks back here tomorrow.